Colts.
Welcome back for another week. Last week we finished up basketball, right, for March Madness, still going on. But we're going to move on to this week's topic of baseball, softball.
Yeah, spring baseball season is about to start, April 1st. That'll be the opening week, so we wanted to kind of go over some just simple hitting drills and some throwing and fielding drills with you guys.
So as you know, with all the sports that we talk about, we would need all year long to make you experts at them, right? Because they do have a lot of things involved. We're just going to touch the basics. For this first day on this first activity, we're only talking about hitting. So those of you at home, we know that you're limited to equipment. We know you may or may not have a baseball bat. If you do, great. We know you maybe don't have enough space. Please do not use a baseball or a hard ball inside, right? Safety first. So we're going to show you some different things that you can use. A good technique to making a ball is just getting a piece of foil and rolling it up into a ball. Coach kind of already made one. We made it a little bit bigger than what you might think because we will be placing it on the on items to make like a tee to hit it off. But he just kind of rolled them into a ball.
Yeah, and if you're gonna be hitting the foil, if you're gonna be using the ball as the foil paper as the ball, it's gonna kind of get dented up and beat up a little bit. So you can just take another piece and kind of form it again and make it a little bit bigger for you. Just simple things like that. Don't use all of it. You wanna obviously don't use up all of your parents' things, but just an easy tip of making a ball real quick.
If you have a soft ball, you can use something. This is kind of like a makeshift tennis ball. It's a little softer than the actual tennis ball. We have a wiffle ball. And then just to show you the differences in the sizes from softball to baseball, if you're not sure, a baseball is smaller than a softball. And the softball, even though it's hard, it's still a hard ball, it's a little bit bigger than what you would find in a baseball. So those of you that play softball know this is definitely a bigger ball. So a little bit different in moving it. As far as a bat goes, you can use any really long instrument. It doesn't even have to be that long. It could be, you know, a longer scrub brush or anything like that. Make sure you ask your parents if you can use stuff that you have at home.
Yeah, there's some brooms that you can like twist off the handle and they'll come off like this. And you can use that. That's what I'm going to be using today. We also have, if you have any pool noodles at home, you can use a pool noodle as a bat as well.
And then some of you might have these little plastic bats also, but again, just make sure you're in an area where you are safe. So if you need to pause the video to go get a bat and a ball, and also maybe a chair or something, because we're going to make a tee a little bit later once we talk about hitting.
Okay. So before I get before I get a chair out and bring everything out for a tee to show you how you can be using these objects to hit the ball or strike the ball, I kind of just want to give you like some basics on, first of all, how to hold the bat. So if you are right-handed, if you hit with your right hand, you want to bring your left hand to the bottom of the handle, and you bring your right hand to the top like this, and you kind of want to line up your knuckles in this fashion. Some people like to line them up like this. I find that it's a little awkward for me, so I just bring them this kind of flat part of my knuckles together. And the other thing is you want to stand facing the plate. So we have a baseball plate like this. You kind of want to stand facing it. So if you're right-handed, you're facing it like this. You don't want to be behind it or anything like that, because the plate is where the pitcher throws the ball towards, okay, to get a strike.
So you're kind of sideways. Your shoulder is facing where your target is and where the ball comes from.
So let's say you guys were pitching the ball to me and the plate was like this. I'd be standing next to it like this. If you're left-handed, you would bring your right hand to the bottom of the handle, and your left hand to the bottom of the handle, and your right hand to the top.
So the best way to remember that is your strong hand, your dominant hand, goes on top.
Okay, so left on top right here, and you would have to switch. So I'm no longer on the right hand side of the plate. I need to come over here to the left hand side of the plate. Okay, because you're left-handed. Now, the other thing that you want to kind of remember when you're hitting too, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to switch over to the right-hand side of the plate, is you want to make sure that your feet your legs are kind of balanced out a little bit, spread out a little bit, maybe shoulder width apart, not too wide, not too close in. You want to make sure they're about shoulder width apart so that you're nice and balanced, and you create a good strong base for you to be ready to kind of step in and swing at the ball when it comes in, okay?
So boys and girls, take some time to get some practice swings without a ball or without anything in. Make sure that you're turning sideways, your dominant hand is on top, you're bringing the bat up by your ear, and that when you swing, it's swinging through evenly across your body and all the way through, okay? We're not gonna get too technical about how it should exactly look like. Those of you that are older that maybe play baseball, you know, if your parents or your coaches have taught you a certain way, you already know. But really we wanna focus on just shoulder width apart, dominant hand on top, bringing the ball, the bat up, and swinging across while your body turns, making sure that you're sideways to the ball, okay? So go ahead and take some practice swings. Pause the video if you need to get that situated, okay? Now, for our actual batting activity, you will need a few more things. We talked about setting up a chair. In class, we use cones, and we set the ball on top of the cone. Now, you probably don't have a big cone like this to set the ball on. If you have a batting tee, even better. But we're gonna kind of make one out of some home items.
So a lot of us most of us will have these lying around at home. Our disinfectant wipey containers. These would make a good base for you to put something like a ball made out of foil. Now this one's easier to place on top because it's not a perfect sphere. It's not completely round, so it won't roll off. Some of the bumps in it help it like stay on there. So we're gonna use this and set it up on a chair.
Notice he put it right over what would be considered the plate.
Yeah, and it's kind of, and the container is kind of closer to the edge so that it can stay up as well. And after you take your practice swings, then you can try to hit it off of what we would call the tee. So it's stationary, it's there for you. You don't have to wait for somebody to throw the ball to you, or you throwing it up and trying to hit it yourself. So you stand, remember, your feet shoulder width apart. You bring your, like Coach said, your dominant hand on top, your less dominant hand on the bottom. So I'm right-handed. If you were left, you'd be on the other side. Everything else would be turned around. So I'm going to back up a little bit so that I'm kind of at an angle where I'm going to make contact with almost not the edge of the bat, but not too far close to me as well. So I'm going to take my stance, stand shoulder width apart, create good balance. I kind of try to measure to see, make sure if I'm going to hit it or not, and then take your swing. Now, you're probably going to knock it over. That's okay. We're not hitting it super hard. You just put it back up, go get the ball and reset again and take a few more swings on our makeshift tee.
Now, boys and girls, those of you that you maybe are a little more advanced, you have a few more things that you, or maybe don't have a tee, some other things you can try are a self-toss. Now, For some people it's easier, for some it's a little harder. It just depends, but if you don't have anybody to toss it to you, a self-toss is a great way. So you are just going to make, and that's where this technique kind of comes into play, right? Because you have to have one hand to toss the ball up and hit it across. So it does make it a little bit harder. You can do that a few times. Or Coach and I are going to show you a partner toss and hit as well. If you have somebody that you can.
So, yeah. And so if you have a partner, boys and girls, they can totally help you out with hitting as well. Your partner, though, wants to stand, and you don't want to stand right in front of them. You don't want to stand too far to like their side. You kind of want to stand. You see how Coach said there's like at an angle from me? And she can come in a little bit closer if she wants. But all she's got to do is toss. She can come in like maybe right in there and just toss it towards me. She's at an angle, and then you're going to try to hit towards the counter. So there she goes. And you just practice doing that over and over again. Now, that's a good drill to do to practice on hitting a ball that's not directly in front of you. Because if you notice, Coach Sender's toss was a little bit close to me, so I was able to kind of move my hands in and swing. If it was too far out, I can reach out for it and try to hit it. So that's a good way to practice hitting a ball that's not directly in front of you, okay? It's a little bit more beneficial if you're already, like Coach Sender said, if you're already experienced with baseball, if you play with a team or something, or if you want to play with a team, those are good drills to practice to become a little bit more successful when you're hitting the ball.
So just make sure that you have lots of space, make sure that you are being safe, make sure you have your parents' permission before you complete all of these things. And again, we just wanted to touch base on the basic skills of batting. The next video, we're going to talk about fielding.
Stay tuned. Bye, Coach.